On the ICE protest and troops ordered to Portland by President Trump, we've been closely monitoring the demonstrations happening outside the ICE facility all week. And we've seen confrontations between protesters and agents result in some arrest. We want to go live now to Fox 12's Leslie Dominique. She joins us from near the ICE building in South Portland. Leslie, what have you been seeing tonight?
Well, Ward, it's felt a bit more rowdy than in comparison to other nights this week. I do want to give you a look at the scene behind me. Not too long ago, we did see DHS officers detain one of the demonstrators out here on the street. There is some type of incident occurring further down the street right now, but we're going to focus in on what we're seeing. On the roof, you can see those DHS officers as well, and they've been documenting video of what's been going on here all day long. Now, some of this rowdiness is because partially there is a larger presence of counter-protester presence, and we saw DHS agents deploy pepper balls, and the Portland police officer at the scene told us an ambulance was called for a protester who was hit with the spray. Now, take a look at this striking video, which shows an American flag set on fire during one of the protests today. Our crews also captured video of, yes, and you might be seeing that video right now on your screen of that flag set on fire. Our crews also captured video of several demonstrators getting detained. We counted at least 4. Here you can see a man in a white shirt being escorted into the ICE building. In another clip, officers appear to be partially carrying a demonstrator inside. And in this video, there's a struggle on the ground between a protester and officers before the individual is taken into custody onto ICE property. Now, at the moment right now, live at the scene, there is some type of altercation going on here. I'm not really sure what's happening. I know there's a lot of yelling going on here, so we're going to try to get a better look at what's happening here. There's a large presence of people down the street crowding over here next to Southwest Moody Avenue. So we're going to try to figure out what's going on over there. A lot of yelling going on here, but for now, we will continue to keep you updated. And now reporting in South Portland, Leslie Dominique, Fox 12 Oregon.
All right, Leslie, stay safe. Well, a major development in Oregon's legal action to try to stop the deployment of 200 National Guard troops to Portland. The federal judge initially assigned to the case has recused himself from it after the Department of Justice filed a motion saying he might have a conflict of interest. The Trump administration filed for Judge Michael Simon to recuse himself from the case because he's the husband of Democratic Representative Suzanne Bonamici. It referenced the press conference over the weekend where Bonamici joined Governor Tina Kotek to criticize the president's decision to deploy National Guard troops to Portland. Here's part of what she said.
And I tell you, I am in Portland a lot. I was at the ICE facility a couple of days ago. I was in Portland yesterday on the east side for a meeting and last night for an event. Nowhere did I see one single indication that we need military troops here. Sending military troops here will only make it dangerous, not just for people in Portland, but for the entire region.
The DOJ says while it recognizes Bonamici and her husband, Judge Simon, speak for themselves, the political role the Congresswoman has played in opposing the president may create the appearance the judge is being partial to where she stands. The judge put out a statement shortly after recusing himself, saying in part, quote, although the court does not believe that recusal is required under either federal law or the Code of Conduct for United States judges, because it is necessary that the focus of this lawsuit remain on the critically important constitutional and statutory issues presented by the parties, the undersigned U.S. District Judge hereby recuses himself. We're also learning more about the judge chosen to replace Judge Simon for tomorrow's hearing. U.S. District Judge Karen Immergut has a long history in the region, including serving as Oregon's U.S. attorney starting in 2003 under President George W. Bush. She later served as a Multnomah County Circuit Court judge before being nominated to Oregon's federal bench by President Trump back in 2019. She was confirmed by the full Senate after receiving bipartisan support from the Senate Judiciary Committee. Her notable rulings as a federal judge include upholding Oregon's gun control law, Ballot Measure 114. She ruled in 2023 that its restrictions on large capacity magazines do not violate the Second Amendment. Then in 2021, Judge Immergut ruled to require the NWSL to lift its age restrictions to allow local soccer star Olivia Moultrie to be signed by the Portland Thorns at the age of 15. And back in 1998, she questioned Monica Lewinsky as part of the independent counsel's investigation into then-President Bill Clinton. Well, meantime, notable public officials are speaking out in support of Oregon's lawsuit to stop the National Guard deployment. California Governor Gavin Newsom and Multnomah County District Attorney Nathan Vasquez filed legal briefs that could play into the judge's decision. In his filing, Vasquez says in part, quote, the deployment of federal personnel not trained in local policing to the streets of Portland risks creating, not mitigating, the very conditions it is alleged to target. The Oregon National Guard has been training for their deployment to Portland at Camp Rylea up in Warrenton, where many law enforcement agencies train. You can hear the sound of gunfire and see military trucks drive by there, but most of the camp is not within view of the road. We spoke to Dan Oldman, who works at the camp. He confirmed that 200 Guard members are there right now, running drills, but he couldn't go into much detail. He said many people in Warrenton are glad to see them being called into action in Portland. But another woman we spoke to, named Nadine, believes this isn't what the National Guard is supposed to be used for.
I hold nothing against the military. They're following orders, and I have no problem with them at all. I have a problem with ICE, but not with National Guard.
I was happy for that. I'm glad that they're coming. We welcome them at the camp, and I'm happy to see them up here training and getting ready for the mission they've got ahead of them.
Camp Rylea is used as a training facility for multiple military branches and law enforcement agencies year-round. Just last week, hundreds of state police officers stayed at the camp for a training exercise, similar to what the National Guard is doing right now. Well, Portland city leaders like Mayor Keith Wilson and Police Chief Bob Day are going national, trying to let people know that Portland is not what President Trump is describing as a city at war. Last night, we showed you segments from Chief Day's interview with CNN, and today, Mayor Wilson penned a letter in Time magazine opposing plans to deploy the National Guard. He also urged renewed partnerships on housing, education, healthcare, and public safety. In the article, Mayor Wilson says in part that Portland needs clear answers as it faces fear and uncertainty. Mayor Wilson says he wants to know what role the National Guard will play and if the mission will weigh the needs of the full community. Stay with us as we bring you the latest on the National Guard deployment that's scheduled to happen in Portland as soon as this weekend. You can also get updates anytime on our Fox 12 app.